Hola, ¿cómo estáis? Hoy vamos a ver los pronombres de objeto directo e indirecto en español. Today we are going to see the direct and indirect Spanish object pronouns. A pronoun is basically a shorter and quicker substitute of a noun. English pronouns include he and she and what and that, which take the place of more words or much longer words. Direct object pronouns are those pronouns that represent the noun directly acted upon by the verb, and indirect object pronouns represent the noun that is the recipient of the verb's action. There are some Spanish pronouns which are the same for direct and indirect objects. Me or to me in Spanish is me. You or to you in Spanish is te. Us or to us in Spanish is nos. And you or to you, to a group of people in a friendly way, in Spanish is os. With all the Spanish pronouns, it depends on whether you are substituting a direct or an indirect object. So for direct objects, if you want to say him or to him, also it or to it, and also a formal for one person, you, or a to you, is gonna be lo. For her or to her, it or to it for a feminine thing, you, formally to one person or to you, but for a female person is gonna be la. And them or to them for masculine or for a group of men and women, also for objects, masculine objects, or a group of masculine and feminine objects, and also you, formally for a group, or to you, masculine is going to be los. And the same, them or to them, formal group you or to you. For feminine objects or for women is gonna be las. With indirect objects, if you want to say him or to him, her or to her, and a formal for one person, you or to you, you'll have to use le. And them or to them, you for formally for a group or to you, for men and for women, is going to be les. It is really important that you are clear on when to use all of the different Spanish pronouns. Let's see some examples of when to use Spanish direct object pronouns. If you want to say, yesterday I saw Juan, you'll say, ayer vi a Juan. In this case, a Juan is the direct object. So if you want to say, yesterday I saw him, you'll have to put the word him before the verb, and you'll say, ayer lo vi. But if you want to say, yesterday I saw Ana, ayer vi a Ana, in this case we are talking about a woman. So if you want to say, yesterday I saw her, you'll have to say, ayer la vi. If you see an object, if you want to say, yesterday I saw your car, which is, ayer vi tu coche. The word coche is masculine. So if you want to say, yesterday I saw it, you'll have to say, ayer lo vi. But if you want to say, yesterday I saw your house, ayer vi tu casa, the word casa is feminine. So if you want to say, yesterday I saw it, you'll have to say, ayer la vi. With verbs in future or with double verbs, if you want to say, I'm going to see Antonio, in Spanish is voy a ver Antonio. Because voy a ver has two verbs and the second one is in infinitive, you have two choices. You can put the pronoun lo if you want to say I'm going to see him. You can put the lo before boy, or you can put the lo after verb and stack together to it. So the two options are lo voy a ver or voy a verlo. Happens the same with the present continuous. For example, if you say, I'm drinking coffee, estoy bebiendo café. But if you want to say, I'm drinking it, because the verb has a gerundio, bebiendo, you can put the lo before estoy or after bebiendo stacked together. So the choices are lo estoy bebiendo or estoy bebiéndolo. With affirmative imperatives, with commands, positive commands, if you want to say, for example, eat it, the it is after the verb and stuck together with it. So if you want to say eat it, you'll say cómelo. But with negative commands, you'll put the lo in front. So if you want to say don't eat it, you'll have to say no lo comas. Let's see now when to use Spanish indirect object pronouns. We'll see some examples of when to use them. If you want to say, yesterday I wrote a letter to Juan. This in Spanish is, ayer escribí una carta a Juan. The letter, the carta, is the direct object. And Juan, in this case, is indirect object. So then, if you want to say, I wrote a letter to him, the him is not lo, is le. So you'll say, ayer le escribí una carta. If you want to say, yesterday I wrote a letter to Ana, ayer escribí una carta a Ana, Ana is a woman. So if you want to say, yesterday I wrote a letter to her, you don't have to think of saying la, because it's indirect object, and for indirect object is le always with him and with her. So you'll say also, ayer le escribí una carta. If you want to say, I'm going to write a letter to Antonio, voy a escribir una carta a Antonio, because we've got a double verb and the second is in infinitive, you have the choice of putting le before voy or after escribir. So you can say, le voy a escribir una carta if you want to say, I'm going to write a letter to him, o voy a escribirle una carta. And if you use the present continuous, I'm writing a letter to Antonio now, estoy escribiendo una carta a Antonio. If you want to say, I'm writing a letter to him, you can put the le before or after. So you can say, le estoy escribiendo una carta o estoy escribiéndole una carta. And with commands, if you want to say, write him a letter, the him is also indirect object, so you'll have to use le. And because it's a positive command and an affirmative command, you'll have to put le after the verb stuck together. So you'll say, escríbele una carta. But in negative, you'll have to put the le before the verb. So if you want to say, don't write him a letter, then you'll say, no le escribas una carta. Let's see now how to use Spanish direct and indirect object pronouns together. So if you have the sentence, yesterday I wrote a letter to you. Ayer te escribí una carta. If you want to say, yesterday I wrote it to you. The carta is feminine, so that will be la. And we already have te as the indirect object. So the order is always first indirect object and after direct object. So then, if you want to say, I wrote it to you, yesterday I wrote it to you, then you'll say, ayer te la escribí. First te, indirect object, and after la, direct object, and after that the verb. When you have two pronouns together in the same sentence and the indirect pronoun is le or les, you have to change this pronoun for se. Let's see some examples of this. So if you have the sentence, yesterday I wrote a letter to Juan. Ayer escribí una carta a Juan. And you want to say, yesterday I wrote it to him. In this case, the it is the carta, is la, and the him is indirect object, it should be le. But you cannot say le and after la, so you'll have to change the le for se, and you'll say, ayer se la escribí. With other example, yesterday I wrote a letter to Juan and Ana. Ayer escribí una carta a Juan y Ana. If you want to say, I wrote it to them, the it is la for the carta, and the them is les. But you cannot say les, la together, so you'll have to say, ayer se la escribí. If you want to say, I'm going to write it to him in the future, it's like with the others, you have two choices. You can put the two pronouns, the it and the to him, before voy, or you can put the to after escribir. So you could say, se la voy a escribir, or voy a escribírsela. And the same with the present continuous. If you want to say, I'm writing it to him, you have two choices. You can say, se la estoy escribiendo, or estoy escribiéndosela. With affirmative commands, you can put se and la. You'll have to put it after the verb and stack together. So if you want to say, write it to him, you'll have to say, escríbesela. And with the negative commands, you'll have to put the se and the la before the verb. So if you want to say, don't write it to him, then you'll say, no se la escribas. At first glance, Spanish direct and indirect object pronouns can seem a little tricky, but give yourself time and you will soon see that they are quite straightforward. The key, as ever, is lots of practice. One of the biggest challenges to the Spanish student is distinguishing between direct and indirect object pronouns, as they have similar functions and are themselves the same in the first and second person familiar forms. Enjoy your Spanish studies and see you next time. Hasta la próxima clase.